So I think there's great value for us to sit down with Genesis 1 and Genesis chapter 2 and to figure out the how of creation. There's value in examining all the different views and comparing them with Scripture. But when we do this, let us not lose sight of the ultimate spiritual reality that creation is for Jesus. It's not about us. Even though we're part of creation, even though we are made in the image of God, ultimately, creation is about Jesus Christ. Humans may be the crowning jewel, but it is Christ who wears the crown. In his comments on these verses, Octavius Winslow points us to the gospel to make sense of creation. Here's what he said: "To the gospel so replete with the glory of Jesus, that gospel, the substance of which is the incarnate God, the theme of which is Christ crucified, that gospel which testifies of his Godhead, which declares his manhood, which unfolds the union of both in the person of a glorious Redeemer, and which holds him up to view, mighty and willing to save to the uttermost. Oh, how sanctifying and comforting is the truth which testifies of Jesus. It has but to point to him, and clothed with energy of the Spirit, the strongest corruption is subdued, the deepest grief is soothed. Of what value or efficacy is all of our knowledge of the truth, if it lead us not to Jesus? If it expand not our views of his glory, if it conform not our minds to his image, if it increase not our love to his person, and if it quicken not our obedience to his commands, and our zeal for his cause, and mature us not by a progressive holiness for the enjoyment of his beatific presence." So Winslow there asks, we can learn all about how creation comes to be. We can learn about all these different animals. We can learn about how the universe came about. We can learn about the God particle. And we can learn all those different things. But if it doesn't lead us to the gospel, if it doesn't lead us to Jesus Christ, all those truths are worthless. All those truths that really are true, and they're good to know. But if we don't know Christ, everything else is pointless. So as we study God's creation, as we continue on in this study of Genesis 1 and Genesis chapter 2, we have to always remember that this is meant to lead us to Jesus Christ, ultimately, and his gospel. So let's keep that in mind as we go through each of these verses, and then we'll be right on track where we ought to be.